Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. This was a wonderful little video. That was the culmination of our 10-year journey to take Zscaler public. So amazing celebration at NASDAQ. I'm very thankful for all of our employees, our founding team, and management team who made it happen. And my wife, Jyoti, who's sitting in the back, she has actually played a big role in helping me with all the startups. So today, I'm going to talk to you about my journey, the lessons I have learned, and share with you. As Vish said, we all learn from each other all the time. So giving you a little bit feel for my early days, I was born and raised in a small village in the foothills of Himalayas. Often people ask me, where do you come from? I said, well, it's near, one guy I told it's near Delhi. He said, where? I said, near Chandigarh. He said, where near Chandigarh? I said, it's near Bhakra Dam. He said, where near Bhakra Dam? I said, there's a village about 15, 18 kilometers from there. So looking back, it's hard to believe where I've come. A great example of an American dream. My village had no water, no running, no electricity. We got electricity when I finished 8th grade. We got running water when I finished 10th grade. I sat in any car for the first time after I finished 12th grade. And I flew on a plane when I came to America to do my master's. The main thing I learned in my village from my parents, who were farmers, was hard work, honesty, and integrity. I was good at studies, so I got admission into IIT BHU. I didn't know what branch of engineering to take because I knew nothing about it. I only knew that engineering was good. Someone said electronics is good, so I took electronics engineering. And once I got to BHU, I actually learned quite a bit because there are students from all over India with great backgrounds. So learning with them, I actually got admission in the University of Cincinnati. I was lucky, got tuition scholarship. Tata was generous, gave me a scholarship to fly. Otherwise, no money to buy tickets. And Cincinnati was great. I ended up getting 3 masters, 1 full-time, 2 part-time while I was working, staying out of trouble, just busy in the evenings and learning. I moved to sales in IBM after 4 years of software development. I thought that was a good move. Sales is extremely important, and IBM is a wonderful company for sales training. At least it was at that time. It was very good. Then NCR moved me to Dayton, Ohio, where I did marketing, a very important function. So I learned about marketing, especially international marketing there. And then NCR got acquired by Unisys. One of our VP GMs, he called me and he hired me as a VP of sales and marketing in Unisys for the software products division. So all these things actually helped me diversify from being an engineer to a business person. I moved to Atlanta, worked for a startup company. Well, I shouldn't say startup. It was 130 employees. It was a public company at that time. And I was the number 2 man. All the big things I learned in big companies was sales and marketing. I was able to practice them at this company because it's small. In big companies, things move rather slow, right? You do something, you don't know the impact of it for a long time. And then I moved to the startup world. That was an interesting story. I would read about Netscape, the Valley, internet was just happening, and I'll talk to my wife and would say, I want to do that too. And the discussion happened for quite a while. She's also a business professional, finance, MBA, and master's in information systems. So she kind of said, you keep on talking about it. Either you do it or you shut up. She's a lot nicer than that, okay? Very nicely. So this was in late 96, internet was happening. I put a business plan together to do a company I called Secure IT. It was about services company, securing your information technology or secure it. Atlanta is now the best place for VC funding. So I spent about 3 months looking for it. Then I failed to raise money because everyone said, you haven't done any startups. So talked to my wife, she was very supportive, and we said, let's put our life savings on the line. If it works, it's great. If it doesn't work, we can always find a job. And that was wonderful, probably the biggest and the best gamble of our life. And that company took off, timing was right, I knew sales and marketing, I hired a good technical team, revenue happened rather fast. Then VeriSign came and acquired us. This was before those internet crazy days. And it was a stock deal. Then the stock went through the roof. 70 of my 80 employees became millionaires. I'm very, very proud of that. It was amazingly satisfying. And since there's no VC, I had plenty of liquidity myself. And I said, wow, that is so wonderful. Was it a spook? Was it a fluke? Can I do it again? So I said, let's do another one. And this time I said, there's only so much money I can put in one company. Let's do multiple. Let's do it like having kids. You stagger them a year or two apart. So I started 3 companies. Core Harbor and e-procurement ASP using Ariba software. ASP is precursor to SaaS. This was dedicated hardware, single-tenant architecture. CipherTrust, an email security gateway company. Air Defense, a wireless security gateway company. And good luck, great teams, good timing, lots of hard work. They all became quite successful. Core Harbor got acquired by USI, another public ASP company. Then it went to AT&T. Some of my team members are still with AT&T running their application hosting business today. CipherTrust was acquired by Secure Computing, then McAfee. And Air Defense got acquired by Motorola. Having done all this, and there were some interesting lessons in those companies. I'll talk about it a little bit later. But one of the lessons is just don't rush into things. Just think through, make a right decision, and move on. And then sitting in 2008 timeframe, 2007 timeframe, I said, I have no more interest in doing one more startup and flipping it. Let's do something big. Let's do something that has impact on the market. Let's fix security that's littered with so many point products. So I started Zscaler. Zscaler stands for actually Zenith or Scalability. And the goal was simple. Applications like Salesforce are moving to the cloud. Internet is becoming bigger and bigger source of information. We are becoming more and more mobile. Why should security sit in your data center? So Zscaler was really started to be the cloud security company. A little bit, so these are the 5 companies I mentioned. I'm lucky that they all happen to work. Actually, the 3 other companies I co-founded and sole seed investor, but I was never in management. Lanco, Air2Web, and TriCipher. It's interesting when you're not running, I ended up getting diluted like you won't believe in those companies. But that's how things go. Zscaler. Day one, we said we will be the Salesforce of cloud security. Very, very focused on it. I'll take about 2 minutes to walk you through what we try to solve. Everyone talks about cloud transformation today. But cloud transformation can be defined in 3 things. 1, applications are moving to the cloud, either SaaS or AWS or Azure. That's the business driver. When applications move, network must change because network is hub and spoke, designed for the data center. And when network changes to local internet breakouts, security must change. It can't be sitting in on-prem, the castle and moat model. So what you see, today's security, the 2 things. The network is castle and moat coming together, and there's a drawbridge to go in and out of the castle. That's what your security appliances are. When users are mobile, when applications are moving to the cloud, users need to be able to go direct rather than backhauling back to the data center and come back. Otherwise, it's like flying from San Fran to Chicago via Houston. Everything slows down. So being able to have security sitting in the cloud was the simple dream. On the left of the diagram, you see the old model. This is where all the firewall, DLP, everything sits on-prem, what's called network security. In the new world, you don't control the network. You're sitting in a hotel on a broadband connection, you're sitting on 4G, you don't control the network. When you go to Salesforce, when you go to Office 365, you don't control the network. If you don't control the network, how do you secure the network? You don't. So the notion of network security is silly. What we are about is connecting the right user to the right application without worrying about the network. So we think network security is gone. It's about securing the applications and the user, so connecting the right user to the right application. And to do that right, we had to build a multi-tenant architecture. That's really what has set us apart. There's a big barrier to entry when you do a right architecture. On the left, I talk about a traditional architecture with appliances. Every appliance has to worry about policy and enforcement and logging. There's lots of redundancy, lots of inefficiency. In the right model, you get lots and lots of efficiencies and throughput and performance. It's because of that our gross margin, even as a cloud company that takes all traffic, inspects all of it, we're sitting in the 79–80% range, which gives us obviously a big advantage. When people ask me what's the difference between Zscaler and all these appliance companies trying to be cloud security, I tell them they're trying to take the power generator and sticking them in a factory and calling themselves a power plant. You can't build a power plant from power generators designed for home. Same kind of stuff. So right architecture has to be built. I mean, that's what set Workday apart. That's what really set ServiceNow apart. So the lesson is, if you're doing a serious startup, build some serious technology. Don't try to take the old stuff and try to stretch it and say it's good. I want to just play a 1-minute video of one of the customers who sees the benefits from Zscaler. Video, please.
Hopefully you have heard of Siemens before. We have around 350,000 Siemens employees, which get routed day by day through Zscaler to the internet in about 192 countries. And you can add a good 30 to 40,000 additional users, which are external contractors, also leveraging our infrastructure to do work for Siemens. There were many drivers which were triggering us to rethink. One, security, that we are making sure that we get the best possible security for internet-facing applications. Secondly, that we drive down costs, because we have to fundamentally re-architect our environment to be also fit for purpose. And last but not least, but even the most important topic and thing I would say, is the user experience and user expectations. Our decision was to use local internet breakout to directly move traffic to the internet and also flow through the Zscaler gateways so that we get malware protection and all the value adds they can provide to us. We expect cost savings of up to 70%. When it came down to the Zscaler decision, of course, it is a certain, I would say, level of trust you need towards your partner to run your entire internet traffic over their solution. In fact, we said we will end up with much higher resiliency if we let them manage this for us than just relying on our own data center capabilities and their availability.
All right, moving on. Let's move to the next section. Some of the lessons I learned I can share with you. One, selecting the right area to do a startup. Now, that falls in 2 buckets. You could do an incremental thing, easy, generally those companies that sold, or you do a significant disruptive area. That takes a lot of time and effort. Lately, you're seeing the mega shifts taking place where the cloud and mobility is upending everything. That's what I tried to do in Zscaler. And I think mega shifts create new leaders, like Workday has become. And when I talk about don't listen to your customers, when you do some big changes, your customers are never going to ask you about those. You need to drive with your convictions, your gut. And once the customers start seeing it, they could start helping you further refine it. So selecting the right area is fundamental. If you build upon something, you don't have enough runway and enough barriers to entries, the others come from behind and catch up, and then that puts you at a disadvantage. Example I'll give you is, look at this way. AWS, Azure are becoming big. There are lots of little holes in the clouds for security, for compliance and all. You could build a tuck-in plugins, the kind of stuff for that. But AWS and Azure are bound to get there. That becomes a part of the natural offering for them. If you want to do something big, then look for a different area rather than just very adjacent to where the big guys are. It's a team. All of us talk about it. But finding passionate, driven people, the founding team and the leaders has to be there, right? And if you are starting a company, you don't have passion and drive, don't do it. If you're doing it for money, you'll be disappointed. Do it because you enjoy it, you really love it, and money follows you. And hiring rising stars is my preference over seasoned people. Seasoned has a room, but sometimes people who are too seasoned have too much entitlement thing. I've been there, I've done it 5 times. I look for hunger and drive, and that's where a large and small company comes in. I learned quite a bit in large companies like IBM, but it's very different to hire someone from a big company. You bring it to a 50-person company, they kind of struggle. So I personally like to have them get untrained in another startup, and then I like to hire them. Okay. It works. It's like, you move from an apartment to a big mansion. Trying to get back to an apartment is very hard, right? Culture is everything. And it is really not something you put on the whiteboard. It is really the behavior. It's how we live every day is the culture. And I think taking risk is fundamental to us. When I started the Secure IT first company, we decided to do it, and Jyoti had a very good job at Bell South, but we said, why don't you quit as well? She has complementary skills, finance, all the rest, the back office, HR, accounting, all the stuff. Say, you quit as well. We burned the bridges behind. There's no turning back. We just look forward. Okay. It's a risk, but the lifestyle was simple. There are no big mortgage payments. There are no fancy cars to worry about. So the expense in Atlanta wasn't that big. So that decision was probably the best decision we made together. So take risks, try new things, fail fast, and course correct is what I try to do. And then execution, hands-on. I'm hands-on, execution focused. People do try to say, hey, this guy is taskmaster, he drives too much. Man, it's execution. You don't have an army of people to get things done in a startup. Push, make it happen, no room for politics. And then lead by example. You can't be playing golf every third day and asking your people to work hard, right? When you are out there doing good stuff, people see it, right? I'm going fast. Time is limited. Technology. People brag about technology, and they should. Great technology is very helpful. But it's the sales and marketing that's key to success. No wonder how good technology you have. Without great sales and marketing, it's hard to succeed. And my view is that as a CEO, spend at least a third of time with the customers, out there learning, figuring out, building convictions. 40 to 50% of my time is spent in the field with customers. I challenge my sales VPs, say, hey, why am I having more meetings with customers than you are? Shouldn't be the case, right? Get out there, learn, build convictions from customers, and having obsession for growth. If you aren't growing, it doesn't really help. People come up with all the balance things. Sure, there's balance. I call it balance is for mediocre people. If you need to be exceptional, if you're playing in the National League, you can't be sitting around. The guy is playing in National League is not looking and say, do I really practice for only 2 hours or do I practice for 4 hours? They go all in, and that's really what makes it happen. And then the internal focus. Lots of people do lots of meetings, lots of internal stuff. I try to kill all of them. Internal meetings versus customer. If you focus on customers, it really matters. The message you set, the tone. In the past 2 years, I've been in the middle of 2 board meetings when a Fortune 500 CIO or CTO gave me a conference call, schedule a meeting. a call that was in the middle of the board meeting. I left the board meeting to go and take a 30-minute call. I think this is a good example of customers are everything, and that matters. CEO, the buck stops at you, right? It's a bit lonely job. You're making lots and lots of decisions all the time. So trying to figure out every decision, analysis paralysis will kill you, right? And that's where I look at collect data, whatever input you need, get input from lots of people, then use your gut and pull the trigger. And part of the challenge I'm being as a CEO, who do you trust? Lots of people have vested interests. Your board may have vested interests. Your VCs have vested interests sometimes. They want more money in the company than you want. And exec team may have vested. Who do you trust? It's become a little bit interesting, challenging stuff. At the end of the day, you take the input, you figure out, you make a decision, and you move on. And I think building a team that speaks up rather than being a yes team is extremely important for success. And constant upgrading. Our people, exec team, it's hard. I mean, firing an exec is tough. But most of people take longer to make a change than they should, me included. Being mindful of that is very good. The other thing I had done is, I've done 5 companies. I never take the same team over. I can see no more than a third of my team will come from my previous context. Looking for new ideas, new thoughts, new people is a good thing. You take some risks, but you enlarge your cycle. It becomes much, much better. This topic of raising money versus selling the company, it gets very interesting. I mean, I was lucky. First time I had to put money myself in the company, so I encourage entrepreneurs, put some money in the company yourself. The other future investors will also feel better about it because your skin is in the game and you got more equity in the company. And also raising money when you don't need it. You get better money. If you need to sell the company, sell it when you're not desperate, right? Desperation causes trouble. And being able to decide when to sell is important too. If things aren't going well, or you know the market is not growing, it's not a bad idea to make a decision and say, I do need to sell, then move on. Otherwise, you hang on to some of these companies for too long. And having done the first 4, this time I really had the strong desire to build something lasting. But it's a different mindset. I mean, we had a long horizon, 10 years. I mean, it's about an average amount of time it takes for a company to go public. But having the mindset, having the team ready for a long run is important. And all along the way, there were many people who are skeptical. Well, will my stock be worth $5 or $7 or $6? But your success, if you keep on showing success, you're able to overcome it. But keeping with conviction has been very important. So it's a different kinds of commitment. As I wrap up, if you want to continue this conversation, I'm at booth 114. Audience here, if you are looking for a high-speed, fast-moving company where you can learn, you can talk to us. We're hiring lots of people. We look for passionate, driven people. If you are CTO, CIO in a company, talk to us. We could help you simplify your security network and transfer your business to the cloud. And if you're a VC, you have a company in the related area, obviously, we always look for opportunities that are adjacent and good for us. So with that, I want to thank TiE for the opportunity to give me time to talk to you. I actually got engaged in TiE in 1998, exactly 20 years ago after I sold Secure IT. I called Kanwal. He was one of the few high-profile Indian CEOs in the Valley, and I got his advice. He got me involved in TiE. I was involved in founding Atlanta chapter and worked with wonderful people at TiE in actually creating the charter and everything. So proud of the work all of you have done to create such a wonderful organization. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the day.